What's going on, guys? We're back. A little bit of news. I don't do news too often, but this one, I mean, it's not even very big news, but we were talking about it a lot in the Discord. I'll put the link below. If you're not in the Discord, hop in. But we're back, if I didn't say that already. eBay. So they've brought in the authenticity guarantee, which previously was only done in the United States, and we didn't think we'd see it here in Canada because it wouldn't have made a heck of a lot of sense to have to take your cards, ship them down to CSG, and then have CSG ship them back up here. But CSG has an office which is in apparently Brampton, Ontario. So what you'll do, actually I'll talk about this a little bit more. So first of all, what does it entail? So any raw cards, this doesn't include graded cards, raw cards that are $250 plus, will get a blue checkbox, an authenticity guarantee program, in which case you will be required to send them to CSG, where they'll go over the card. They'll make sure, as you can see here, industry experts will look over, compare the item against the listing to make sure that there's no issues with condition, being the right card, perhaps it's parallel, yada yada. They do all that, and they're going to make sure that you're getting the card, or the buyer is getting the card that they want. And for the seller, it's pretty good for the seller too, because first of all, the buyer isn't able to leave you negative or neutral feedback on the card. So once it goes through the authenticity program, you're protected against neutral and negative feedback. So that's a good thing if it gets lost in transit too. If they lose it, if CSG loses it, sending it to the person, eBay is taking responsibility for that, or CSG is, after investigation, obviously, and it sounds like you won't have to cover the cost. And remember, this is only for raw cards, $250 plus. So first of all, there aren't too many cards that sell for $250 plus in raw condition. Lots of slabs, more cards, I would say that way. Generally speaking, $250 raw card, there aren't a lot of them that move. I mean, there's a lot of them that move, but relative to the amount of total cards moved, it's not going to be, there's just not going to be too many of them. So keep that in mind. So here we got an explanation of how it works. So you can see you're going to get this blue check mark here after you list your card, which means that it's eligible. Then it will be sent for inspection, where they keep it in a penny sleeve the whole time. It's pretty important. Goes through the multi-point inspection, so they check it against the listing, so I like that. And then they send it in a cool box. Now, if you've watched other people's content, I watch lots of content from obviously creators in the United States, and everyone's had pretty good reviews, and no one's had an issue with this program. I don't expect it to be any different here. Sneakerheads, I've heard them talking, they think that this is a wonderful program because they know that they're not getting fakes. Fakes are a little bit less of an issue in terms of or less of a concern in terms of hockey cards, but even still, just, someone checking the condition can only be a good thing, I would think. What I would have more of a question on is if there is an issue with the card, say a small issue, and I want the card anyways. Now, let's say it's listed as mint and they consider it near mint. I want the card anyways. Are they going to send it back? Do I have the option for them to send it to me and just give the okay that I'm okay with that condition? So a question there, but regardless, I mean, it's just not going to happen too often. So we'll see how that plays out, but generally speaking, I think it's a good service. No harm, no foul. I send it to one address instead of the other. It protects me, it protects the seller. I think it's fine. If you're a bad actor within the segment and you're trying to get, maybe cards that have condition issues through and get those sold, this may stop that. But again, it's $250 plus. It's just such a small amount of cards. Anyways, down here they got terms and conditions and the FAQs, so you can go through that if you like. But definitely something I didn't think would be coming here, but they brought it here, and I think it's a good service. I don't think there's any issues with it. You should look at it from the positives as both a buyer and a seller, because there's clearly more positives than there are negatives. The number one negative people would probably spout off right away is, how long is this going to take? They say 1 to 2 days. Everything I've heard in the United States, south of the border, that's going through, timing isn't really an issue. They're getting through these cards really fast. In some cases, it seems like it's under 24 hours or even same day. So I wouldn't really be concerned about that. If you're sending a card from Vancouver to Calgary, well, you're going to have to send it from Vancouver to Brampton and then go back to Calgary. But ultimately, you know, a day or two, again, protecting the buyer or the seller, I think not necessarily a bad idea or a bad program to have in place. So that's the authenticity guarantee. Let's move on here. It was Connor Bedard draft day, and Connor Bedard is going to be going to the Chicago Blackhawks, which is cool. I was hoping that Connor would go to either Anaheim or Chicago. And outside of that, I thought maybe Arizona. You know, Arizona could really use them. They have a couple young players down there with Maselli and Keller, and maybe that's everyone. Anyways, I thought Arizona would have been a decent place. Anaheim, they would have been pretty stacked with young kids. And anyways, he's not going there. Johnny Taves is gone from Chicago. Patrick Kane is gone from Chicago. And now it's the Connor Bedard show. We're going to see what he brings to the table. Really interesting place for him to land. I think it's sort of exciting. Being a Colorado fan and Chicago being in the Central, I'm going to get a decent look at Connor Bedard, as he's also in the same time zone, so I'll be able to catch some of those games, and I'm sure lots of people are going to be going out of their way to watch Bedard play, but he went to Chicago, so there you have it. One of the interesting things that came from that right after, which I didn't know until the boys in the Discord sort of cued me in, was Lukas Reichel cards started going off, so people were going nuts on them. You can take a look at his chart here, and you know, he was down between $5 and $10 for a good portion of these sales back here, with some above. You know, you could call it a $10, $11 card, call it what you want, that's fine. So then what happened was, apparently Lukas Reichel was the big benefactor of Connor Bedard. So this whole first page of Young Guns is all Lukas Reichels that were sold after Connor Bedard was announced going to Chicago. So this is the second page. We can see May 7th. May 8th, we can see almost exactly where he gets drafted. This was at 6:53, and he wasn't drafted yet. And here's where he got drafted, was at 7:20 Central Time. And you can see the first sale goes, then we got a sale at 7:21, then we got one at 7:26. Someone paid $19 for this raw, so that's a good sale. Here's a $14 sale at 7:27. 7:27. Anyways, you get the point. Lukas Reichel flying up, and if we take a look at some of these sales, obviously well above. You know, there's one here at 25 Canadian, $26.90. I had two listed, and both of them sold, and my listings aren't showing up in here, or my sales aren't showing up in 130 point, but anyways, I had them listed at $26.96, and both of them sold. Oh, here's one $12. So this is pretty funny because I didn't see this before. Do I have my other one up here? I didn't sell it for $12. So congrats, I sold my item $26.96. They bought one. Why is it showing 12 as a $12 sale? And I can actually show you. I could probably go into my sold items. Let's go to selling, and I'll go to orders, paid and shipped. Is this in .com, but it should still show it anyways. Yeah. So you can see here, Canadian $26.96, Canadian $26.96. I don't know why it's showing $11.96. Really weird. Anyways, I sold two of them. I showed you there. Two of them gone. 1, 2. Boom. Apparently I had 3. I don't know. But I sold those. Now I want to see if my other one's here. Really strange. Anyways, guys, you see, I sold them for $27. So Lukas Reichel just went off, and this is not a good buy. This was a good time to get rid of them. Don't be buying Lukas Reichel right now. Hold off. Give it till summer. Anyways, just a really interesting point there that came with the Bedard draft is Lukas Reichel was probably the biggest benefactor of it. But let's get into some market movers. As always, I'm using market movers. If you guys are interested in trying it out, there is a new coupon code below. I hope it's there. Anyways, a code will be there. If the promo is different, the details will be down below, but let's take a look at what's going on. So we got hockey cards here. We're going to look at PSA 10s, $40 with 3 sales in the last, and we're going to take a look at the last 60 days. Maybe I'll bump this to 5 sales just to see. I don't think it's going to change a heck of a lot, but regardless, we'll have a look. So we got Evan Bouchard here, and some of these, now what was interesting is I did have a brief look through this, is some of these players obviously benefited from the playoffs and others not so much, yet their prices are up. So my whole thesis going into the playoffs was just last year we saw very little price increase, and I didn't have any playoff plays. I happen to have some cards here like a Rupe Hintz you can see on the screen. I sold one of those at PSA 10, but it was just the timing that I got the cards back. It turned into a playoff play, but I didn't buy it consciously to catch Rupe Hintz at this time. But it worked out okay for me. But I didn't buy any cards to sort of stock up for a playoff run or any playoff hype because I didn't see it last year. And, so the question is like, are we seeing it this year? And I'm not sure. We certainly are seeing it in players here. Evan Bouchard started off at $35. He had a sale at $160. So obviously, clearly, he's seeing a boost there. And if you had some Evan Bouchard cards, which I did, and I sold mine early, but c'est la vie. That card was a benefactor. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins started at 106 up to 178. Another one. Matthew Tkachuk still going from 113 to 178. So we're definitely seeing some playoff push. Pavel Bure up 56%. So he's playing really well in the playoffs, right? Obviously, some of these cards aren't from playoff pushes. If we go down like Cole Perfetti is up 45%. Anton Lundell not playing wonderfully. Kalen Addison is out. I think some of these cards are more an instance that prices are just so depressed that we're almost like at the bottom for a lot of these cards. When a PSA 10 is going for $45, $36 to $45, like how much further down can it go? It's not going to go much further for almost any player. Any player who has any sort of upside or, has a shot at being any sort of player on the team, like a $40, and I'm talking USD, a $40 PSA 10, how much further down can it go, right? So I think that's some of it. Keep going here. So, we're seeing Svech. These guys are up a little bit. Josh Norris, Carter Verhaeghe, Kyrou up. Obviously nothing to do with the playoffs, but we do have the playoff guys up here. Braden Point, not in the playoffs anymore. Yeah, Pavel Bure's the interesting one. But anyways, those are the guys who are seeing some price action upwards. Now we'll take a look at the guys who are going or went the other way. These are ones that, again, to me, I'm always a little bit more interested in. Because I think these are the buying opportunities, not the guys who are up a whole pile, right? So Tarasenko down a whole bunch. Starting price $200 down to $56. Dawson Mercer, I think he only had one way to go. He had a hot streak there, and now just sort of regressing to the mean. Could be a good player. Could be a good opportunity this summer. We'll have to see how that plays out. Jonathan Huberdeau, last sale $41 US for a PSA 10. I'll buy all of them at $41. I don't think you're gonna find them at $41. I think this is very likely an auction that went extremely low. Let's have a peek. So we'll take a look at his completed sales here, and you can see it was an auction that went at $41 where the fixed price before was at $80. So if you're auctioning cards, you got to be aware they're going extremely low. Linus Ullmark, obviously Boston getting slammed, and so is his card price down a whole bunch. Hedel toasted. Johnny Gaudreau never made the playoffs. We got Chikrin down, Kyle Connor down, Tage Thompson was way up, obviously coming down, and we got the regular. Look at these. This is, the bottom feeders. We got St. Louis, we got Ottawa, we got Columbus. then we're back into the playoff, guys. Anyways, these are some of the guys who are moving down. We got Laffy here down 25%, his PSA 10. Last sale, holy, look at this, guys. $104 for a Laffy. Oh boy. Brock Besser, $41. Marco Rossi, $64. I like that price, and seems that's probably a price you'll be able to get it at over the summer, I would imagine. Pasternak, last sale, $9.95. Guys, hit that like button, subscribe. That's our look at the market. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, hit that like button, comment below. Let me know what you're buying, if you're buying cards right now, if you're selling them, how you enjoying the playoffs, and who's going to win the cup. Let me know, comments below. We'll see what's going on, and we will check ya.